So the question we want to ask next is, depending on the choice of the topology, would your link design change? Remember, we discussed how to design point-to-point links, etc. So when you are assembling the different components to form the link, how does the topology matter? So for example, we take a bus topology. So in the bus topology, we know that you have a central fiber and you have the different nodes accessing the central fiber. So what is shown in blue here is that central fiber. So you have the fiber running, it has couplers placed at regular intervals. At these couplers you can drop your optical data, there is a transmitter receiver, and this can actually add data in this node. So essentially you have something like this, which is the central fiber, and you have a transmitter receiver pair. The light can get dropped and for instance at the receiver, and the transmitter can feed light into the bus. So each transceiver can be connected, each node will have each transceiver. We have seen yesterday that the node, the add-drop multiplexing part could get done in the electrical domain. The transceiver is only a part of that add-drop multiplexer. The transceiver can connect to, each transceiver can connect to any other transceiver in the bus, right? For example, if you have this, if I want to, so this is the bus topology. So if I want to connect from node A to node C, so what I am doing is I am going through this and reaching this, I am going through this path and reaching this C. On the way, I encounter the splitter where there is a possibility of transfer of power to B, but I don't choose to do so. I can connect from A to C or B to C or A to B or so on, right? So let's take a bus, so let's take a set of nodes which are connected to each other through a bus network, and let's say there are n such nodes, which means there are n transceivers, n transmitters, n receivers, okay? Now the question we are asking is what should be the epsilon so that your link is optimized, and also let's say the length of the fiber on each side is L, okay? So let's try to work out what is the loss between mth transmitter and nth receiver. For instance, let's say we are trying to communicate between transmitter 2 to transmitter 3, right? So light from transmitter 2 actually enters, so let me use another color here. So light from transmitter 2 is entering the main cable, right, the central cable. It passes through this. The objective is to connect to transmitter 3. So it passes through this coupler, it passes through this, it passes through this, doesn't get dropped, passes through this, and ultimately reaches your transmitter 3. Okay. How does a connection between transmitter 2 and transmitter 1 gets made? From transmitter 2, the next coupler, so you have the transmitter 2 actually sees 3 couplers before it can, the data can get dropped to transmitter 1. That is a very short path. Whereas between transmitter 2 to transmitter 3 is actually a long path. So we are trying to write a general expression for the loss between the mth transmitter and the nth receiver, okay? So we are trying to find out the loss between the mth transmitter and the nth receiver. As an example, let's say m is equal to 2 and n is equal to 1. Okay. So if you want to transmit data from node 2 to node 1, the data has to go through the first coupler. So there is a coupling loss here, and then it has to bypass this coupler. So let's call this as coupler 1, coupler 2 and coupler 3, right? It has to transmit through this epsilon, get coupled in through the coupler 1. It has to bypass through this coupler 2 and it has to reach coupler 3 and it has to get dropped at coupler 3. So essentially it has to pass through 3 couplers, of which there is a drop here, there is an add here, and also there is a bypass coupler here. Okay. Similarly, if you want to do from transmitter 3, for instance, to transmitter 2, it is going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 couplers, of which there is a add and a drop happening here, and there are 3 bypass couplers, which means in general it is facing m plus n minus 2 bypass couplers and 2 couplers where it is getting added and dropped. So if your coupling ratio is epsilon, so you have epsilon two couplers, so and this is loss, so you have epsilon square at the as the loss because of the fact that you added and you dropped from the coupler. So that is epsilon square, and you had m plus n minus 2 bypass couplers, right? So the loss introduced in the bypass couplers is 1 minus epsilon. And of course, you also have segments of fiber. For example, in between transmitter 2 and transmitter 1, you had a segment of fiber here, you had a segment of fiber here, which before it reaches transmitter 1. And for example, here between 3 and 2, you had 1, 2, 3, 4 segments of fiber. So in general, the loss introduced by the fiber is L by N, where L is the length in on one side, and because the number of segments in the fiber, if you generalize, it will come out to be m plus n minus 2 L by N, right? So this is the loss between mth transmitter and the nth receiver. As it's very obviously seen, the loss between the mth transmitter and nth receiver depends on what your m and n is, right? So let's try to figure out where is the highest loss in the whole process. So the highest loss, you can very well see that it happens when the nth transmitter is transmitting to the n minus 1th receiver, right? For example, in this case, the second transmitter, if it is trying to, or the third transmitter, let's say it is trying to transmit to the second receiver, it has to go, the information has to go all the way through this to reach here. Whereas the third transmitter, if it is trying to transmit to the n minus second, for instance, then it has to reach only up to this point. So the largest loss is between 2 neighboring nodes, and it happens when the transmission happens between n and n minus 1, which means m is equal to n and when n is equal to capital N minus 1. And that largest loss would be, so when you put m is equal to capital N and n is equal to capital N minus 1, you will get it as the loss is, this is the largest loss that you need to power budget for. And that largest loss is an expression now depending on my coupling ratio and my number of nodes. Okay. So if you ask yourself the question, what should be my epsilon? What should be my coupling ratio? Should I drop 10%? Should they be 50-50 couplers? Should they be 90-10 couplers? The answer is it depends on actually your n. Okay. And the objective is always to minimize your loss. Obviously, when the number of nodes increases, the loss between the nodes will naturally increase, but the question is there a choice of an optimal coupling ratio which will minimize the total loss in the network? So what we have done is I have plotted this eta in dB, the loss in dB, as a function of epsilon for different nodes, different number of nodes. So this corresponds to n is equal to 5, this is n is equal to 5, this is n equal to 10, this is n is equal to 20, and this is n is equal to 30. So as you see, as the number of nodes increases, the minimum loss actually increases, obviously, because you have more number of dropping, adding, more number of, so because you have more number of points at which the signal is dropped, so there is more coupling ratio related loss. But what is interesting to see is that the epsilon for which the loss is minimum, the epsilon for which the loss is minimum is somewhere between 0.2 to 0.3 for n equal to 5, whereas that number is shifting to somewhere at less than 0.1, somewhere around 0.04 when the number of couplers is 30. So it means that the optimal split ratio in a bus network depends on the n, and when you do a power budgeting, you have now have to worry about what kind of network you are. So similar calculations can be done for a ring network. So whenever you are trying to now find out what is a split ratio or coupling ratio in a ring network, similar calculations can be done. So this means that when you are trying to design your network, the components that you need to choose, for in this case the coupling ratio of the coupler, that is decided by the number of nodes, and you need to do some more optimization to minimize the total loss in the system. For instance, if you stick to the same 0.2 or 0.3, the loss, if you were to increase the number of nodes, is actually going to be very, very high. Right? So this is also talking about the scalability of a bus network. So if you were adding nodes in a bus network, it means that the coupling ratio of all the nodes has to be changed. It means all the couplers needs to be changed. It's not a question of adding one node and hence changing the coupling ratio there. Okay.